Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So as you guys can see by the title of this video, this is going to be quite just a chill, chatty video. As you guys can see by the title of this video, I wanted to give you guys a bit of an update of me being off the pill and how I'm feeling, because we have reached the 6-month mark, which is actually crazy. I thought I would give you guys pretty much like my whole why I went on the pill, why I've gone off the pill, how I'm feeling now, just so that you guys have a bit of an idea of my experience, because I did say I would update you guys on how I'm feeling with this, and because I know a lot of women go off the pill as well. A lot of women go on the pill. I do just want to preface this video and say, do not take what I'm saying as advice for you and your medical history and all of that stuff. Definitely get assessed by a doctor before you go and make any decisions regarding your health, because they know you and your family and your history a lot more than I do, and you do have to be careful with pills and stuff, because they can affect you in different ways if your family suffer from different things. So that's my little disclaimer out the way. I do also want to apologize if you guys can hear the wind in the background. It is so loud today, and if the lighting goes a little bit in and out, it's because I am using a mixture of natural lighting and also using my ring light. So after that very long introduction, let's jump into this video. So yeah, I'm just going to start with kind of why I went on the pill to start off with. So I went on the pill when I was 17, I believe. I was in my last year of high school, or my second to last year of high school. Can't quite remember, but I got the pill from the school nurse. I didn't actually discuss it with my GP, which I probably should have back then, but back then I didn't really know much about contraception. All I knew was anything I read in a magazine and a lot of people going on the pill, and I was like, well, the pill obviously is a contraceptive, but the main reason I wanted to go and try the pill is because I have always had really bad period cramps. I need to actually go and get it assessed by a doctor, because I don't know if I have endo. I don't know if there's anything else that's kind of underlying, but I have always had really bad pains. It has been to the point where I have fainted, can't function as normal, and that's how you know when you're kind of on the scale of being okay and then needing to be assessed, because I had to take a lot of time off school due to the pain, and there was multiple weeks where I would just go to school for a couple hours and then come home, and the bleeding was quite bad. And so I was like, right, I am just gonna give the pill a go and see how this works for me. I feel like when I first went on the pill, it was great. It really helped to reduce the pain of my periods. It helped to reduce the bleeding, all of that good stuff. I was on Ava 20. Alright, hopefully I'm in kind of the same position. My battery just died, so I have just changed it over. So yeah, I was on Ava 20, which I believe is the lowest dose that you can get. It's now renamed to be the micro something, but when I first went on it, it was called Ava 20, so I'm just going to refer to it as Ava 20 for this video, because it's a lot easier than pronouncing the big long name of it that it is currently. So that was the lower dosage. It didn't stop my periods, because I never wanted my periods to stop. I wanted to have a regular cycle and kind of just see how I went, and she put me on that, and then she said if it gets any worse, come back and then we can reassess, because maybe we do need to up the dose. So I always stayed on the Ava 20. Like I said, it worked. It reduced the pains, it reduced the bleeding. I still had a normal cycle. It was still regular every month. There weren't months when I was missing it, which I found really great. In terms of my skin, I feel like my skin was okay. My skin throughout high school was a bit funny, but I never have had really bad acne or anything, so I don't really feel like the pill made much of a difference to my skin. Even now, my skin is a bit meh, but it's because I've ran out of my skincare, to be honest. And when I had my skincare, when I'd come off the pill, it was totally fine. And even so, I don't really have any bad acne or anything. You can't really see my skin because I've covered it up with makeup. But if you watch any of my moving vlogs where I've vlogged and I'm not wearing makeup, you can see my skin. I've been really lucky. My skin really isn't too bad in the scheme of things. I would happily leave the house now without any makeup on. But I noticed over time that my anxiety got a lot worse. I feel like my depression got a lot worse. I haven't really been diagnosed with anything for definite, but I know that I do get into really bad mental states at times. I know that I am quite an anxious person. I feel like ever since leaving school, like, it was okay, but then I feel like I can't really put a time frame on it, but I feel like all of a sudden my head just started feeling really loud. Not like hearing voices or any of that kind of stuff, but I feel like my emotions went into overdrive. I didn't really do a lot of research on the particular pill that I was on. I obviously read like the little pamphlet thing which said like, don't drink grape juice, if you have sex you're protected, if you like consistently take these pills, and then I read like a couple side effects, but I didn't really think too much of it. At this point as well, I just want to preference, I was not being sexually active. Throughout school I was never sexually active, so it wasn't the reason that I actually went on the pill. I feel like it was probably like at least a couple of years after being on it, so probably when I was around like 19, 20, my head started feeling really loud, my emotions kept going into overdrive. I don't know what ingredients are actually in this pill either. Like, if it was me now, looking back in hindsight, I would have done a lot more research, but I kind of just took it and ran with it because everyone at school was like going on the pill, so I didn't really think too much of it. So I don't actually know what ingredients were in it that were making me go a bit like in the head, and I kind of didn't really think about coming off it. Also, when I was 19, that's when I met Phil, who is now my husband. So we weren't Christian when we first met, so we were being sexually active. Being on the pill obviously was great because it protected me against any unwanted pregnancies. I know with the pill, the one that I was on, it is 99.9% effective at protecting you against pregnancy, but I believe the pill that I was taking, it wasn't going to be harmful to any life that may have been created. I don't know how it does it, but I know that looking back on it now, it is one of the ones that Christians can take and are allowed to take if they would like to, because as a Christian you do have to think about the contraception that you take, because some contraceptions can kill any life that is made, and obviously that is not okay as a Christian, and I don't really like that. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is that I didn't really know much about the pill. All I knew was that after about a couple of years of being on it, my head started feeling really loud, my emotions I feel like went into overdrive. In terms of my cycle, it was still helping, but I feel like the more my body got used to it, the less effective it kind of started being. It was still effective, and it wasn't like, my cycle wasn't how it used to be, but I feel like we were slowly starting to go down the same route. And then obviously with my emotions feeling really loud in my head, and I just felt like I was being pulled in so many different emotional directions that I didn't really know where to go, and I think I didn't really know how to feel, and I think that's the only way I can kind of explain it. But obviously because Phil and I were being sexually active and we weren't trying to have a baby, it was obviously just like a no-brainer. I feel like after being on it for like maybe up until I was about 21, 22, I started to feel like it wasn't really helping in terms of my cycle. I feel like the bleeding started getting a lot worse, my cramps started coming back. They weren't how they used to be to like before I went on the pill, but they were still quite sore in the scheme of things, and I was still having to take painkillers, whereas like before when I first went on the pill I never had to take any painkillers at that time of the month. And for reference, like I would need to take painkillers every like time that I could to get through my cycle. So it kind of just started to slowly go back down that route. And Phil and I knew that we wanted to have kids at some point in our relationship, but we just weren't quite sure when. And I knew that I didn't want to be on the pill for like a long period of time. I have heard, I don't know if it is accurate, that if you are on the pill for like an extended amount of time, that if you want to conceive it can be quite difficult. Again, I've heard both versions, that like someone was on the pill for years and they came off and they got pregnant straight away, and then other people were on the pill for years and couldn't get pregnant. So like, I think it really depends on you and your family history and your body, but like, I just didn't want to take the risk. I think it was last year after becoming Christian. So Phil and I became Christian in January of last year. I kind of just started really thinking about it, because I think I was feeling not like totally convicted, but I feel like it was a little bit because I didn't know what I was putting into my body to start off with. I didn't really like the way it was making me feel anymore. Obviously the whole reason why I went on the pill was for my periods, and I feel like because it started going back to like how it was, I feel like it just wasn't working anymore. I knew that I didn't want to up the dose, because I think when I first went on it I got told that if I upped the dose it would stop my periods, and I didn't want to stop my periods either, because I know that my body is designed to have a cycle. It's just part of being a woman. I didn't want to stop that. I didn't want to get in the way of that design. But also I just think because I just didn't really know what I was putting into my body, and I also didn't want to research it because I didn't really like the way it was making my head feel either, with just feeling like things were kind of going here, there and everywhere. Obviously once Phil and I got married, I knew that I didn't want to get pregnant straight away. Basically Phil and I wanted to be able to have a period of time where we had sex and I didn't fall pregnant. I called family planning and I asked them, is there a way I can come off the pill up until a couple of months before the wedding and then go back on? But I think I called them in September of last year, because at this point it was really starting to weigh on me. They said, look, if you come off now it takes your body 6 months to get used to being on something. And we got married in April of this year, so basically by the time that I had gone off the pill and wanted to go back on, there wasn't really enough time for my body to get used to it. And when you go on the pill you need to like get your body used to it, because otherwise your body won't really know what's happening and you can fall pregnant in like the first few months of being on the pill because your body's not used to it. But like, I found taking a pill every day fine. I remembered I was never one of those people that was like, I need to take it at this time, because I was just like, oh, if I take it within 24 hours usually it's fine. I never had any miscarriages, I never had any positive pregnancy tests or anything, so like in my opinion it worked. But like, I don't know if that was just the pill I was on or if it's just my body, so don't take my advice as it will work for you. And then I also didn't want to confuse my body either. I didn't want my body to feel all over the place and not know what's going on, because obviously then I feel like my body would get confused and it wouldn't do anything, and then I could have ended up pregnant. So, and I think as well I really wanted to just see what my natural body is like. So for reference, I'm now 24. Knew that obviously when I went on the pill I was 17, and my body is very different at 17 and 24. I'm physically a lot different now. I have put on a bit of weight since I was 17. Put on a bit and then I lost a bit as well, which I also don't know if it has been because of the pill. It possibly even could be. I don't actually know. I believe I started putting on weight when I was like 20, 21. I decided to come off the pill at the beginning of April of this year. Mainly because of I wanted to see what my body was like. Didn't want to put something into my body that I didn't really know what it was or what it was doing. But mainly because the reason that I went on it, I feel like it wasn't doing that anymore. Like, I feel like my cycle was not fully back to how it used to be, but it was very close to how it used to be. And so I just felt it wasn't doing anything, and I was like, there is no point in me taking a pill every day to help with period pain if I feel like it's not doing anything. So obviously I talked to Phil about it. I called family planning again about it to get some advice, whether I kind of had to wean myself off or whether I could just go cold turkey. Their advice was that I could just go cold turkey and just stop taking it. The month that I decided to go off it was based on basically when I finished my last pill packet. So I finished my last pill packet in March. I didn't want to order anymore. I also didn't want to pay for any more, and I really just wanted to see what my body was like. And because when Phil and I got married, we knew that we wanted to have kids in the near future. So I thought if it takes a little bit for my body to kind of get used to how it was, I want to allow myself time for my body to kind of get back into a normal routine. Yeah, just so that I can kind of know what it's doing before we have kids, so that hopefully when I do want to have, or when we do want to have kids, it will just be a streamlined process. Phil was really supportive. He was like, just whatever is most comfortable for you and whatever you feel like is best for you and your health, let's do that. And so I came off, and that month I got my period as normal. It pretty much kind of carried on the same cycle as when I was on the pill. So like, if you're not familiar with the pill, you have 3 normal rows and then 1 row at the bottom that is like the week that you bleed. And so my body just followed that cycle, and it has followed that cycle ever since. My periods were regular as well. Again, since I've come off, I haven't really noticed anything different with my skin. My skin's been the same. I feel like I have lost a little bit of weight. I don't know if that is because of the pill, or because Phil and I do a little bit of exercise more than kind of what we used to, or because when I moved up to Auckland, I moved into a house with stairs, so I was going up and down stairs all the time. It could have just been like a mixture of different things, but obviously I have heard with the pill you can put on a little bit of weight, and I definitely did put on a little bit of weight. Mainly I wanted to talk about periods and my pain with them. So when I first came off the pill, I feel like the first couple of cycles were okay. Like, it was manageable. I could go to work. I took a few painkillers, but it wasn't anything crazy. But I feel like now it's kind of getting bad again, like the pain. It kind of is very similar to what I was feeling towards the end of the pill, but just a lot more nausea, I think, has come into play, and a lot more fatigue. Still get really bad cramps. I get some headaches as well. It's not quite migraines yet, but it's definitely like quite a prominent headache, crazy amount of fatigue, and a lot of nausea, which I'm not quite used to. I don't know, again, if it's just my body changing because I'm now an adult. At the moment, I am really content with not being on anything, so I am not on any form of contraceptive. Phil and I are still being careful when we are having sex. We use other things, but the main thing that I use is tracking on my phone. So I always track my cycle through Flow, the Flow app. This video isn't sponsored by them, but I honestly would highly recommend this app. I pay for this app. It's like 40 New Zealand dollars once a year, which I feel like is great, because then I know exactly what's happening with my cycle. I know if it's normal, I can track it. I know roughly the days that I'm ovulating. I know when I'm on high chance of getting pregnant. I know when I'm on low chance of getting pregnant. So mostly Phil and I just use that. And so far it's been great. We've been married since April, and it is now halfway through September as I'm filming this. And so far I haven't had any pregnancy scares. I haven't had to do any pregnancy tests. Always got my period still once a month, carrying on. Most of the time it's on time as well. Couple times it's like a couple days early, but like my app still tells me that like it's coming around that time, so my app doesn't alarm me of anything that's wrong. I do still want to go to the doctors and just get checked out, because obviously the pain is quite bad, and my pain has always been quite bad ever since I was 11. So far I am really enjoying being off the pill. My head is the biggest change I think that I've noticed. My head feels quiet, which is really nice. I feel like my emotions are in check. I feel like I'm not being pulled in so many different directions, so I don't know how to feel. I feel like if I'm sad, I'm definitely sad. If I'm angry, I'm angry. If I'm happy, I'm happy. I'm not being pulled into so many different directions, which has been great. And Phil said he noticed a difference as well, which is nice. Phil is really content with me not being on anything. So far, I'm really enjoying not putting anything in my body that I'm not used to, or isn't supposed to be there, or isn't naturally designed to be there. But yeah, that's just how I'm feeling at the moment. Maybe I will give you guys like a 1 year update as well since being off the pill, just to see if anything's changed. But at the moment, that's kind of where I'm at. If you guys have any questions as well on anything that I've talked about, drop them in the comments and I will be sure to answer them for you. Again, don't take this as me telling you to get on or get off the pill. That is only a decision that you can make and your doctor can make. But that's just my experience, and it's definitely taught me a lot about my body, and I like being aware of my body, like what's normal, what isn't. My periods tend to be quite consistent as well. Like I feel the same things each cycle. I feel like I would feel more myself. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little chatty chill video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Please make sure to turn on the notifications and check out my social media. It's always linked down below in the description box. I also just want to preference as well that Phil and I are pretty chill if we have a baby whenever. We're not trying as of yet. We kind of do have an idea in mind of when we want to start trying, but it's not for a wee while yet. If we do fall pregnant, we're more than happy to start our family early, but as of right now we're not actively trying, and we are protecting ourselves with other methods. When you actually start looking into pregnancy, you realize it's not just as simple as, oh, have sex any day of the month and you'll fall pregnant. Like, there's actually certain windows of when you're fertile. Let me know down below as well in the comments if you guys have been on the pill and your experience with it, if you are still on it or if you've come off as well. It'd be really interesting to know so we can all help each other out. And yeah, I shall see you guys in my next video. Bye.